Welcome guys. It's called the Gen Z Roundtable. What is annoying about being called Gen Z?
Gen Z is sort of misunderstood. Virality in general is now feeling very overrated because it's not tough to get viral anymore.
Really?
I was dating a girl before COVID. Her parents would call me a kachre wala because I was picking up trash on the beaches.
Oh my god.
If you have to reach at the point of what audience loves, you have to be either be extremely opinionated or be
Just feel like I'm genuinely scared of getting viral because the last time it happened with me, it landed me in the police station. It landed me in the court. Like, I'm not supposed to entirely talk about this, but last year I had to file an FIR against. No matter what I say, no matter what I do, it'll end up on Reddit. If you land up on Reddit, you know you've made it. You've made it. One time a brand asked me to show my underarms on camera and I was like, what is this weird kink that you're trying to develop in people? A lot of content creators earn a lot of money. Sometimes I don't know if it's deserved or not. So a lot of the times brands really want my dad to be a part of like their promotions. They can treat me badly, but when they ask father, it drives me insane. SPF is a non-negotiable, a good diet and definitely lots of working out. And I mean, of course, if you have a great boyfriend, orgasms on top of that. Wow, my manager will kill me for saying that.
But do you guys all do this skincare routine, boys included?
After a point, the sunscreen stopped working on me. It just becomes your natural shade.
thanks to my ex. She educated me a lot.
I think it's very cute that you're carrying on this tradition.
Yeah. But that has changed because my girlfriend has also changed. And I think she has a lot of friends.
No, I've been on the content, I've been backstabbed by so many like so-called creative friends. So I am just scared.
What are your thoughts on modern relationships and love?
I'm obsessed with love. I have my broadcast channel. It's called Pookie Mandi. I'm obsessed with it. I feel it. I'm Gen Z Seema auntie. I was being bullied in college for not like hooking up and for not being on Hinge.
सच छुपता नहीं छुपाने से सबका कटता है दिल लगाने से. I think that's been my love life.
I can actually set you up with someone.
A lot of people think that this is a very lonely generation. Welcome guys. It's called the Gen Z Roundtable. It's been in our books for like as long as I remember, and we're like, we have to do Gen Z Roundtable, and I'm like, I can't wait to interface with you guys and ask you what is annoying about being called Gen Z.
I think people think that you're not serious enough in
Yeah.
life. Like everyone just thinks we use hashtag all the time. Like hashtag Ben code, what is that? And I feel like Gen Z is sort of misunderstood in the way people think that we don't have a lot of work pressure, we don't have work ethics, especially when you see all these Gen Z and corporate memes. People just think that Gen Z take it really lightly, but I feel we are under so much pressure compared to any other generation. The competition, the mental health stress, the hair loss stress. I feel like for Gen Z, everything is amplified.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I do to some extent, but if I have to say broadly, Gen Z, being millennial, whatever that is, it's a mindset. So today I might feel like Gen Z, tomorrow I feel like a millennial.
Really?
But at the same time, when someone calls you Gen Z, you feel that you're being limited, right? There are no spaces for you to make someone understand that, hey, I'm more than that. But once you start making them understand, then they understand, oh, you're a Gen Z only. You will over-explain, you will overshare. So I think it's all about limitations that people provide in the sense of labeling, and that does not just happen to a Gen Z, to any generation that goes along.
Yeah, like I think it's just across the board where we're expected to behave in a certain way if you're of a certain age group or of a certain, I don't know, like era. How has it been for you guys?
I was gonna say something similar. I just feel like I get that there are like different generational cohorts, like there'll be Gen Z, millennial, boomer, etc. But I think what I don't like about the term Gen Z is that it is very limiting. You're archetyped into one sort of being, and then people don't understand that at the end of the day, we're still like different people.
Yeah.
Like Gen Z in itself, like we have a lot of individuality even as people, but we're constantly put into this one box and people have these expectations out of us and these stereotypes, and I just don't think that's right because there's so much more to the generation and its people and our interests, likes, etc. It's not all just this one boxed idea that, I don't know, a lot of like marketing companies and stuff have created. So I'm not exactly happy about that.
And how does it work in your field, right, where it's something extremely important as well, which is environment, and when you're trying to kind of prove a point and then people are saying things about, just the era, the generation to which you belong?
I'm a borderline Gen Z, so I also have
Yeah.
traits of, millennials.
Millennials, yeah.
But, you often hear the term Gen Z when it's used to troll someone. It's basically like a label. And, you often hear that, the older generation saying that the younger generation is not doing something for the society or the country. Here we are breaking the narrative and changing the perception that Gen Zs are also working towards the country and are doing something positively towards it.
Yeah, like it's not limitless. You're not just being termed as Gen Z because of something, but because you can also be doing something to contribute towards a cause, for example.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's paradoxical because I believe India has the biggest army of Gen Z generation.
Yeah.
China is lacking because of that. US is lacking because of that. So I feel if we use it to unlock potential of the economy of India in itself, by not limiting someone to keep them in brackets, I feel we're allowing them to just experiment and be themselves.
Yeah. And all of you guys enjoy certain social media standing, right? And that's such a integral part of not only just Gen Z, but in life. Like everybody who enjoys some kind of social presence has agency to do whatever, to either start their own business or promote their products in any context. Having a social media following is great. But hi guys, I hope you're enjoying the podcast, but I'm going to stop you here because I've noticed that so many of you watch our podcast but don't subscribe. So please pause this video here and go and hit that subscribe button because it really helps us grow. And with your support, we want to bring you many more fantastic conversations. Thank you. And with that, let's get back to the podcast. How necessary is it for you guys to be viral or create content that resonates with more and more people? And then I'll ask you for what has been your most viral moment and how that played out.
Wow.
Yeah, whoever. Yeah.
I'll take this one. Actually, I think virality in general is now feeling very overrated because it's not tough to get viral anymore.
Really?
I think you can do a lot of things and get many millions of views, but the retention from that virality is what matters. So if you're contributing something to your audience, whether it's humor, whether it's something good, for example, it's about building a community. So when you, say for example, when you talk in a video, it's less likely to go more viral than putting in audio and a lot of graphics and stuff like that. But when you talk into a video and you're being your true self, it may not get as many views, but the retention, the followers you create, the community you have, that's what's more important. And now, even from like a technical standpoint, that's what brands are looking at. That's what like a lot of people are looking at in terms of like success in building a community and a following per se. But being viral itself, I think, has lost its like charm. Yeah.
What about when you're talking about extremely important issues and then something like that goes viral? Does it translate into more people wanting to contribute to your cause? Does it translate into more people, say, contributing donations, if at all, if you're doing something like that? Does it ever translate?
So for me, the virality movement happened before I was doing social impact content.
Okay.
And I already knew, I've grasped the idea of what the audience likes. But there is a difference between what audience likes and what audience loves. And if you have to reach at the point of what audience loves, you have to be either be extremely opinionated, like have a strong opinion, or B, just create amazing content. That's about it. Either visually or verbally, you make them understand that, hey, I'm more than what I offer.
Right.
But that's very difficult on Instagram
Yeah.
because low attention span. So you keep on scrolling. So if you want to hold the attention, they say that 3 seconds is when you say the hook,
Yeah.
and then the ideal attention span is 9 to 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
It's come down to 8 seconds now, I think. But for me, it was difficult to be able to do the things that I do because most of my audience is women,
Really?
right?
Okay.
Because if you go through my content, you see there's a lot of empathy in it.
Yeah.
And it's cognitive empathy. Cognitive empathy, basically, I show something to you and you feel a sense of it.
Correct.
Now, when I started talking about menstruation, when I started talking about education, when I started talking about climate change issues, I felt that audience was more in tune with what I'm trying to do than what I'm trying to show.
Yeah.
So being opinionated is something that worked for me. And my virality moment actually happened when I did the pad distribution
Yeah.
project where I went to slums and I distributed pads by becoming a pad man. So you need to understand that distributing pad man and creating a positioning out of it is very simple. Like distributing pads and becoming a pad man is a very two different things.
Yeah.
Without this couldn't have worked. Right? You do your work, social work, whatever it is. But your audience wants masala. Your audience doesn't like to be bored.
Yeah.
So you say that, hey, I'm becoming a pad man, and then you show your social work.
It's all about the positioning.
It's all about the positioning. You have to be smart about it completely.
And how has it been for you, Srishti, with your podcast, with the content that you create on Instagram? Do you find yourself constantly trying new things so that you can go viral or the views translate? How has it been for you?
I feel like on the contrary, I'm really scared of virality right now because of how the political climate has been for creators lately. And I mean, for example, I feel like I have a virality peak moment in every 6 months because I want to reinvent my content every 6 months. So I first became viral in 2022 with my whole Gen Z videos started rolling in. And then in 2024, it happened again with this series called Lessons for Boyfriends, where I just tell boys, like, this is how you should treat your girlfriend. Very basic, simple manners, like, you know, do nice things, be nice, whatever. Now, apparently, so, like, I'm not supposed to entirely talk about this, but last year I had to file an FIR against this dude who gave me a random death threat online. And it was very hectic for me. Like, I had to go there with my friend, his mom. Hum log police station mein 3 ghanta the. I had to go to the court to file the complaint. It was really hectic. And in the last 2 months, where you see FIRs being filed right, left, and centers on creators, it is just, I feel like right now the security of, let's say, a woman today is not as appreciated than, you know, just like randomly filing FIRs over virality, over something that's offensive or very fragile. So I just feel like I'm genuinely scared of getting viral because the last time it happened with me, it landed me in the police station. It landed me in the court. And now I'm just figuring a way to not offend anyone. But again, you lose your authenticity, you lose your voice because I'm not intentionally trying to offend people. I'm just saying what I really like saying. And if that, you know, triggers someone to send me a death threat, I feel like that's where we need to draw a line.
That's commendable, actually. I
Yeah,
think, like,
is
to
it?
have the guts to, because people think that creators don't have the power to take an action towards someone who has been, like, just being as obsessive, as aggressive as they can.
Yeah.
And it takes guts.
But is this a resonating feeling that you're more mindful of the content you put out because you can get cancelled, it can spiral into something entirely different? How has it been?
You know, there's a quote from Spider-Man: with great power comes great responsibility. And I think all of us, we have great power. So for me, I never wanted to be a content creator, to be honest. I was just doing my cleanups. I would share it on social media. Eventually got the engagement and views, and I decided to be a content creator and use the leverage as a creator for my cause. Now, my virality moment was last year on Mother's Day. I put up a reel where I was surrounded by trash in a mangrove ecosystem. It was Mother's Day. The POV was, I'm your mama's boy. And in the bracket, there was Mother Earth. That reel got some 137 million views.
Wow.
So I've also realized just doing great job for the society does not solve the problem. I think the whole idea is to reach out to more people, and I think content is the biggest and the greatest tool that we have right now. If 200 people turn up for the cleanup drive, there are 200 million people who can watch and get inspired and, you know, change the actions and be a little more conscious.
Yeah.
But like Srishti said, it's very important to be conscious when you create some kind of content, because there are people being inspired by us. It could be in a positive way or in a negative way. That's up to us, I feel.
But what if you think that what I'm saying is completely right or completely fine and there's absolutely nothing wrong, but it just gets entirely misinterpreted when it's delivered? Because the truth of the matter is, it is almost nearly impossible to please everybody, right? Like, somebody somewhere is going to get offended by something. So are you guys more in tune with being authentic, or let me just play it safe?
I think it depends on context. I feel like there's this narrative where, because you share stuff on social media online, you should be open to what people have to say.
Like,
and
if
I
there's
don't-
criticism,
you
you've
have
gotta
to
take
accept
it.
it. I actually, criticism is fine, but like a lot of hate and, like Srishti said, a threat to safety, I don't think that's okay. I don't think it's okay under any context for people to think that it's fine to come out on the internet and portray this much hate towards someone. I never think that's all right. However, like you said, it is impossible to please everybody. So I have gone with a mix of both. I think I personally play it a little bit safe when it comes to certain topics. But then at other times, I'm like, I can't do anything. No matter what I say, no matter what I do, it'll end up on Reddit or it'll end up with a lot of haters talking about it. And unfortunately, that's life. In an ideal world, it wouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's just the truth. So
I mean, she's so cute. Who would hate on her? But people still do, and that's so sad.
I think it's
likewise.
you cannot fake authenticity. Your
Yeah.
audience catches you before you catch yourself.
Yeah.
Because,
But when you talk about topics like, say, menstruation, how does it land for you?
because in a way, my base community knows that I'm also acting on it. Right? It's not just me creating content, it's me bringing the change with real action. Right? So when we introduce the main topic, which is boundaries consent, to 2 government schools, and those are like official subjects as a part of their itinerary now, we felt we already made a statement by doing that action. Then we started reflecting on doing first period parties in different kinds of schools, which used to happen on a monthly basis.
Correct.
Right? So once you build your foundation of your work and let people know that, hey, I'm actually doing what I'm saying and not just showing, your base community does not care about it. And you only need to care about your base community.
Right.
तुम खुद की community को जितना खुश रखोगे, the ripple effect happens. And that's when the pyramid goes on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, authenticity cannot be faked. If you are changing, it shows that you are changing. So you cannot fake that I love mythology. Let me just. You cannot fake it. You have to be interested in
exactly.
it.
And people understand that from what they
Audience is smarter than you are.
Yeah. Okay.
Also, sorry to jump in, but I also think to a certain extent, I think this is true for a lot of us, we've reached a phase where we don't take it as seriously and we don't take ourselves as seriously, because only if you get hate do you know you're successful, if I'm being honest.
If you land up on Reddit, you know you've made it.
You know you've made it. And a lot of the times the hate comments are kind of funny. Sometimes I'm like, wait, that's actually kind of creative. So the trick is also to just not take it as seriously, because it's going to happen. And the good thing about Gen Zs are humor. Like, even out of bad situations, humor has become such a coping mechanism for us that it's funny.
So tell me something that you read about yourself and you're like, that's funny.
I think, this one's actually so mean. I don't know if I should say it. Somebody said something when I think this was back when I was in college, and I had lost a little bit of weight, and somebody said something about, actually wait, I don't think I should say it, it's really bad. Something about some really mean hate comment about this me being like a malnourished Barbie situation. But I was like, wait, that's kind of creative. Like, how did you even think of that? That's so mean, but that's so creative. So I didn't take it personally. I just laughed it off and I was like, it's okay.
You're done with it.
Yeah.
And
It's fine.
Tanmay Bhatt said this, no? Like the opposite of love is indifference, not hate.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think and I say this to everywhere, that it's better to be hated than not to be worthy of being hated.
Yeah, I mean, hate drives engagement. So they're only contributing to your success. That's how I see it.
So many of these conversations, right, whether to post correctly, not correctly, like let me just be safe, is also dependent upon brands. Like content creators are associated with brand sponsorships or how creatively you promote certain brands. So how do you strike that balance? And by the way, the number one question that people have for content creators is how much do you actually make? So I'm gonna start with you.
See, I'm Bania. We are very secretive about our money.
So I will not be revealing.
But it is, I think, I make a good amount to live comfortably without being dependent on my parents for it, because I come from a Bania family and my dad very clearly told me, if you don't make a good life for yourself, I'm just going to get you married to some boy in Agra. And my hometown, my mom's town is Agra, and I was always very scared. No, I want to have independence in life. So I think ever since I was in 12th grade, I've only wanted to make money, and I'm very shameless about it. So when I first came to college in my first year, I was getting 1,000 rupees per month to write, and I think that's how I started writing. And now that I look back at it, I feel like I've come a long way. And yeah, money is the only thing that truly matters sometimes, and it can get you to places where you never thought you will end up. And I feel like people should just be private and secretive about it.
What about you?
I believe in nazar, so I'm not going to tell the figures. But I make decent enough to take care of myself and my cleanups. One thing where we lack is the genre that I'm from, sustainability, environmental conservation. It's a niche and it's still growing up. So you don't have as much money, like the brands spending so much on sustainability as you see in other genres, you know. So that's one of the problems here.
But is that something that you're looking to change, or how does the commerce of it work? Like, does your content creation support the drives, etc. right now, or there are other sources as well?
So majorly it's been funded by the content that we are making. So the money that we make through content creation, it goes for the cleanup drive. So it's being used for that. But you know, the brands are changing eventually, but it's very slow and gradual. At times the brands prefer taking somebody, you know, who's an actor, maybe somebody who's creating content around acting for campaigns that were meant for me, like for example an EV brand. And I feel that's very unfair for people like me because I cannot get into their genre. And I feel that when it comes to sustainability or environmental conservation, I should be the first priority. Okay, if you're worried about the engagement and other scenarios, that's completely fine. That's, you know, understood. But if it's only for the profile, I think that doesn't make any sense for me.
Okay. How about you?
I follow this formula called as one for the pocket, one for the soul. So it's always been the balance of doing things for your inner soul that make you happy, and then there are some commercial things that you need to understand. You cannot convince a brand to do things that you want to do. Brands don't love you. Brands want to reach at a place where they can see the ROI happening right in front of their eyes, but it's social media, it's Instagram. You cannot logically and tangibly see the output. But at the same time, for me, that's why I keep on also introducing new factors in my life. Like I introduce my parents, my mom, dad, sometimes my niece, sometimes it's just me talking about a particular topic so that people understand that I am more than my content.
Correct.
So what brands want is your personality to be loved, not just your cause or your work, right? So isliye, like if I take example, someone like Srishti, someone like her, they have higher probability to pull in brands because their community is based on their reflections, their personality's reflections, whereas we are our work's reflection.
Correct.
So it's harder for us to pull in brands, but on an average, we get about 2-3 brands every month. So if you take an average of 2.5 or 3 lakhs, we make about 7 to 8 or 10ish. A good month is 10 lakh. So that depends depending on your work. Sometimes it's more than that because you never know what's happening. Mother's Day aa gaya, wo campaign aa gaya. So
it's not consistent. Like
it's never
campaign
consistent,
based.
and that's why I started diversifying and I launched my podcast. So the podcast thing is basically for building a new audience, which is parents and kids.
But do you think everybody's launching a podcast? Do you feel like it's become cluttered and absolutely anybody is just out there as is a new medium and saying, okay, I'm starting a podcast? What do you think?
I was one of those people actually. But I agree. I think too many people are starting a podcast, and when I listen to podcasts, I only specifically listen to crime podcasts because I only enjoy those. But
you should listen to my podcast.
Crime podcasts
You
are the
haven't
only
done
one
any
that really
crime yet,
get
no,
my
that's-
attention. And it's my way of like learning how to stay off my phone is I'll play a crime podcast in the background because that's the only thing that'll keep me
Engaged, because you have to pay attention.
You'll have to pay attention, right? It's like a story, so that's why like I'm more into it. But my thing with podcasts is that if I'm not contributing something, so like you'll see someone like a Nikhil Kamath podcast, his podcast is really contributing something, or
I'm just waiting for my podcast name to come somewhere in this Gen Z list. How am I going to? You have to. We'll talk later.
Excuse me, you have given us Humans of Bombay. I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
literally.
That's huge.
Yeah, but my thing is that a lot of podcasts are like educational or they provide something.
Yeah.
If I can't provide anything positive, one, I don't think my podcast is going to last long term, and two, I just don't see the point of it. Then it just becomes
just another
another channel for me to, do the same thing that I'm doing on other things. So that's why I'm not like I had a podcast and then I stopped. I was like, this is not providing anything. It's not providing anything for anyone else. I don't feel good doing it, so I stopped, and that's why I'm like. A lot of the podcasts, I'm like, everyone's just coming on and saying nothing. What am I gaining from this?
But it's so
I've
refreshing
stopped.
for you to say that, right? Like, look, I started it, and because I thought that it's a new avenue, but it didn't work out for me, therefore I stopped. And that's sometimes so refreshing to hear, because there are some people who are extremely stubborn for the wrong reasons, and like, no, I will keep going, and until it's like D-Day. But when we started our podcast, it was 3 years ago, right? And podcasts weren't what podcasts are today, as is when we started Humans of Bombay, when Instagram wasn't what it is today.
Yeah.
And I remember there were just like very few podcasts. And how has it been for you?
But honestly, I'm really surprised. Like, I rarely listen to podcasts, which is so weird. I've just heard maybe like one Mel Robbins podcast, and I think maybe it's because of my attention span. I need to consume something while I'm eating. So I think for me, it has always been YouTube videos or maybe like a visual
Vlogs?
treatment. Not at all. For some reason, so basically my team always told me, why don't you make vlogs? And I'm like, because I don't like watching vlogs. Why do you think other people would watch my vlogs? So I've always been in two mindsets about vlogs. So when I was doing my show Pookie Clinic, initially I also started doing a podcast last year, and then it didn't work out. So I was like, never mind. We dropped like 3 episodes, and I was like, you know what, I'm done with this. But what I really enjoyed was making a very visually appealing chat show format, which is why I came up with the Pookie Clinic show. So I was very specific. Like, I want it on Instagram and YouTube only. I don't want it to make it into a podcast because I know I don't have the attention span. So Siddhesh and I were just talking about it, how the duration of my podcast is really small. It's like 12, not podcast, sorry, show is really small. It's like 12 minutes. And I was like, do people even watch itna lamba shows? He's just telling me, ki, why don't you make it? Yeah.
Because our podcast sometimes at 2.5, 3 hours.
Exactly. So he was telling me, why don't you make it for up to 20 minutes? I'm like, do people even want to watch 20 minutes? Because I know my attention span isn't, which is, oh my God, it is so scary now that I'm saying it.
The thing is, like, yours is a show. We cannot call it a podcast.
I was going to say unrelated. I
Yeah.
think even if you do extended 20 minutes, people will watch because you have stuff going on. It's something different. It's something new. Your visuals are very, very good.
Aesthetic.
And it's like even your language and stuff, it's very engaging. So I think,
And
and
you are
people
one
like
of
to
those-
eat and watch YouTube videos
Yeah.
from my experience.
And
So
she's-
good 20 minutes is
I
actually
should do a
the
watch
sweet
party
spot.
after this.
She's one of those like very few creators who have design language.
Yeah.
And the reason why I started a podcast, because nobody is doing a podcast with kids.
Yeah.
Like, nobody is chatting with kids. So I
Yeah.
thought, let's just bring adults and kids together and let's see what happens.
And how's it worked out?
Amazing. Like,
Yeah.
we started 4 months ago. We have captured about 100K plus followers on Instagram.
Wow.
YouTube is doing well. All the long form podcasts are doing well.
What is long form? I'm very scared.
So long form is basically a full on conversation.
How long?
Oh, not this.
I was like,
Mine in proper, like 1 hour, 40 minutes, or like that. So, I mean, like, if your audience loves you for this much of content, then great. But you need to have a moat when you have a podcast, because everyone is doing so.
Exactly.
So if you have a moat and if you have a you are a differentiation itself, like of your podcast, right? Because I've already built an IP, which means you know how to interact with humans.
But that's a boon and a bane both. I'll tell
I
you
know.
why. Because it requires you to be there consistently,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then if you're doing other things, for example, say you actually have, like, for us, we run a business, right? Like, we do so much agency work, etc. Plus, we're launching new things. That becomes the biggest boon as well as the biggest
Yeah.
bane, because it's doing great, but you're like, oh, nobody, like, how do I replace myself, Have you ever thought of a podcast?
The
To be
beach
very
podcast.
honest,
The
I have
beach.
thought about it. So I wanted more of an action-driven podcast. So something you don't shoot in a studio. Basically, you're doing a cleanup and you're having a conversation at the beach, or you're planting trees while you're having a conversation. But I think it's logistically challenging.
Yeah, that's more of like a vox pop.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So, and I think I personally watch podcasts which are more about politics, world affairs, something which is adding value to my life.
Yeah.
Something where I'm getting knowledge from what's happening around me. So, I think the most important thing about a podcast is if you're adding value to somebody's life, if you're sharing knowledge, if it's a quality podcast, people would sit and even watch it for 3 hours. The most important thing is, how do you make a podcast every single time with some new knowledge into it? I think that's the most difficult part.
So, one of our podcasts is called Realign, and I feel the need to say this because I'm like, people don't know. So anyway, we interviewed Sonali Bendre for her cancer journey, because it basically talks about like science, spirituality and wellness, and she spoke about recovery after like a extremely challenging time, and somebody in the comments said, I'm going through chemo and this has given me hope. And that's when I told the team, right, like that we're doing extremely important work, and the metrics or the virality of it is just not important,
Yeah.
right? You're able to give somebody hope in a time of extreme hopelessness. That's value.
Absolutely.
What is your favorite podcast to watch?
My favorite?
Yeah, outside of yours.
I watch a lot of like non-Indian podcasts. Like
Okay.
I love Tim Ferriss.
Yeah.
I love Joe Rogan. I consume a lot of Dr. Huberman.
Huberman, yeah.
I do consume some of your episodes also.
Oh, thanks. The first person. I'm just saying that to make me
No,
feel
no,
that
of
you
course,
know.
of course. I have. I followed your journey because I used to run a startup before.
Yeah.
So as a startup ecosystem, I used to consume what you guys are doing as an agency.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bit mix of everything. But there is this show called as Recess Therapy, which is about this one guy who interviews kids,
Okay.
right? और ये US में ही है. This model is nowhere.
Huh.
And the way he interacts with kids and gets his personalities out is
Yeah.
something that motivated and encouraged me. Like, because I'm also like that. Like when I talk with kids, I get lost.
Yeah.
I get lost in
And
translation.
there's such interesting questions also. You know,
Yeah,
sometimes
so-
you're like, oh, I also didn't think of that. Like, how did you think of that?
Yeah, just imagine you're asking an 8-year-old kid what's mental health,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like a few days ago, I did an episode जहाँ पे एक बच्चा government school का है. Second kid is from international school. Two different perspectives. So I think you never know what comes out. So it's very unpredictable, which I love.
And you all work with brands across, right? So have there been brands that have asked something of you and you're just like, wait, what? Is this even real? Has it happened?
I feel like one time a brand asked me to show my underarms on camera, and I was like, what is this weird kink that you're trying to develop in people? So we just straight up said no. So I
No.
feel like sometimes a lot of, and even when it comes to beauty brands, I feel like for example, there was this one brand, they were promoting some glossy lipstick, and the lipstick did not have gloss, it was matte. And I was like, तो इसमें gloss तो है ही नहीं, तुम्हें कैसे glossy करो? They're like, you put a lip gloss on top of it, do a cheat shot. And I think the word cheat shot has just become so common in brands right now. And we were like, you know what? No,
We
we
don't
can't
do
take
it.
this up. And yeah, I feel like brands are also a little bit sometimes.
How has your experience been?
No, I'm a little stubborn in the start only.
Yeah.
In the start only, I make it clear that these are things I'm okay with, these are things I'm not okay with. I will try out a product before I ever promote it. And if I don't like the brand / product, then I'm not going to promote it.
What
So
if it's like
touch wood.
extreme time bound? Like, I want it in 2 days, 3 days.
It's happened, then I have to do it, what to do.
Then you do it.
I mean, like, I only work with brands and products I've used before I genuinely like. So I don't have a problem adjusting to what a brand asks for because they don't ask me for anything crazy. And I already set my boundaries in the start. So then there's no misunderstanding later.
What about you?
Fortunately, I've never had such an experience because every time I pick a brand, we do a vet check. Like, does the brand actually believe in the cause? Are they really doing it? Because, like you said, the niche is so this thing. But one thing I've experienced was last year, a brand organized a cleanup drive in Mumbai. They invited a few creators, and I wasn't invited. Whereas I've worked with that brand in the past, and I never knew why that happened. So sometimes brand do certain things that you have no answer about. Like, why did that happen? Like beach cleanups I've been doing for the last 8 years. The best person to call for such a
It's my
campaign.
flywheel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you never know. And I feel more than the brands, I have a major problem with the agencies that handle them. Sometimes I feel it's not the brands, it's the agencies
Yeah,
that are
especially
creating
that
the
age.
problems.
Especially that.
Managers are cooking.
Yeah.
So I think it's just the bad cop, good cop that they're playing maybe sometimes, but it's the agencies that's difficult to work with.
Very interesting. I'm going to ask you a follow-up question right after I ask you. Have you been asked as well
Yeah,
to
of
do
course.
something? Yeah. What is the most random thing you've been asked to do?
Okay, so one random thing was like, I shot a video and it was about que I have to spend some time with underprivileged kids. And it was some product, it was a clothing product. And I shot a video at Dharavi because अभी underprivileged kids थोड़ी Godrej की building में मिलेंगे. You have to go to an area like that. So I went to Dharavi and I hung around them. I made a video with them. I sent the video. The brand is like, no, we don't like the background of it. We don't like the aesthetics. So can you shoot it in a nice building जहाँ पे पीछे सब एकदम clean है. And I shot it again in a different area जहाँ पे roads है. थोड़ा तो essence होना चाहिए ना. You cannot talk with a kid like that at a different setting. I shot it again They rejected that also. They're like, no, we need more clean space. And I'm like, I feel sometimes it's not just brands, they are human beings.
Yeah.
And human beings are flawed in different ways. So if they are not clear with their vision and their objectives of what they want from the campaign, these things are going to happen.
I just thought of a crazy thing a brand
Yeah.
asked me to do.
Let's go.
So a lot of the times brands really want my dad to be a part of like their promotions because that works. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people on the internet touch would really love my dad.
Yeah.
But I think, but a lot of the times brands, we've all experienced bad experiences with brands. They can treat me badly, but when they ask something out of my father, it drives me insane because you can treat me anyway. Like
They
they
shouldn't
cannot
treat you anyway, but
yeah,
anyway,
but
yeah.
whatever. Like they have this whole thing, we're paying you this stuff, but you're not paying my father.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the times, brands like this has happened before. They're like, we vlogged the video, we want it by tomorrow anyhow. Otherwise, we're gonna drop you. It's not gonna go live. And then my poor father has come back home from work. It's 9 p.m. at night. We've just had dinner, and I go up and I'm like, Dad, I'm really sorry, but please, can you be a part of a video with me? And this has happened more than once. So now I've like stopped even like
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not
allowing,
nice. It's not
like
nice.
now,
Yeah.
like after that one experience, I've stopped even like any brand that wants to work with me or a family member. I'm like, no, if you want that, then absolutely
No.
not. But that's something I hate. Like brands really ask the world out of you, and then when they ask the world out of me and a family member, I'm like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way.
This happened
So
to me
when-
also.
yeah.
So
My
sorry.
we've shot on my father's birthday before because my dad, again, touch wood, he can't stand to see me stressed. So he's like, we'll do it, it's fine. But we have shot a video on my dad's birthday, reshot a video for a brand, and my dad has so much patience, touch wood. But brands can really be awful
They
sometimes.
don't respect your boundaries.
They don't
man.
respect your
They just
boundaries.
think that if you're paying a creator, तुम
Yeah.
उनकी गोदी में बैठ जाओ.
That's
They'll do
what.
anything
That's
for that.
what.
What about negotiations and like cutting of costs and saying like don't do it in this much? How do you handle that? Do you feel like what you ask for is met, or is it a constant push and pull?
I think brands do pay quite a bit, and I think a lot of content creators earn a lot of money. Sometimes I don't know if it's deserved or not, so I don't complain about that. Like if we've agreed to lock at a certain cost, then I'll
Yeah.
cover the rest. Like that's okay.
Okay. What about you?
I personally feel there are brands who are ready to pay good amount of money because they have their own marketing budgets. But there are very few brands. Now, there have been brands who have reached out to me saying, we love the work that you're doing, you believe in the cause, we want you. There are certain brands who would go to somebody else because they don't have the budget, or maybe they don't want to spend so much money. So it absolutely depends on that. And one thing I don't like about the brands is kal ke kal chahiye. 2 din mein chahiye. That does not work. You have other commitments as well. And then when you stick to the script and they still ask for changes, that's something annoys me
Of course,
very much.
because you have to go into a reshoot. And
Exactly.
things.
But I remember the first time I did a branded content was in 2020. I think early 2020. I did one reel, one post and 2 stories for 10,000 rupees. And I was like, oh my God, you're getting paid 10,000 for putting this. Eventually I realized that was way too less for that. Then I realized I'm not good at negotiation. So I signed up with an agency.
Okay, so we close the loop in that one. What about you?
I think I have this philosophy where I think you should just suck up and do the job.
Yeah.
Because trust me, in this industry is very fragile. You don't know when you run out of relevancy or work tomorrow. So I feel like if a brand is paying you money, and trust me, like Taneesha said, brands do pay good money. You just take the money and you do the job, and then you invest it and you build yourself and your parents a house. Like that is eventually the goal in life. So I feel like for me, what a non-negotiable is creative freedom. Like I very clearly tell the brand, I am not a beauty creator or a lifestyle creator. So I can't simply go up and hold a product and promote the whole video. I need to integrate it with a storyline or with a script. And when they come with such expectations, ki nahi just hold the product and talk about the applications, I'm like, okay, then you get someone else to do it. Now then aap hi script karwa lo. Sometimes brands have come up to me with a script from ChatGPT and they're like, no, but ChatGPT has written a better script, why don't you do it? And I'm a writer first and a creator second. It really annoys me. I have controlled my anger so many times in such situations, but I feel like you set that boundary, you tell them, you do my script, otherwise you generate an AI and let them do the script. So now that AI creators are also
They can
here,
create
it
an
is
AI
just
Srishti also.
yeah,
Rather than
no,
need
now
you.
with AI creators, you feel like, okay, what if AI is actually going to steal my job? So now we're like, you know what, suck up and do the job.
So Srishti, you very hilariously talk about girlhood moments on your page, and I think that also has a stickiness to it, right? Because women relate. Like, when I see something and I'm like, oh my God, I do that all the time. There's a relatability. So what's one non-negotiable that you would stress on for all the girls out there in terms of routine, skincare routine, which is like the most trending and relevant conversation that goes around?
I feel like I can go on and on for hours when it comes to skincare. Like, everyone in my family is obsessed with skincare after me now. But I've recently started playing pickleball, which I realize is great for your skin. Like, who thought sleeping for 8 hours and playing sports would be good for your mental health and skin? But I think going for sports every day for sure a non-negotiable. And I love my SPFs. I'm actually carrying 3 SPFs in my bag right now. That's how much I adore it. I love the Ecologica sunscreen, for example. So I have very sensitive and rashy skin, and it has happened ever since I've moved to Bombay, but that's the only sunscreen that sticks and it doesn't make it look very greasy or very chip, and because of Bombay weather, nothing works on my face. So I feel like SPF is a non-negotiable. A good diet, and definitely lots of working out. And I mean, of course, if you have a great boyfriend, orgasms on top of that. Wow, my manager will kill me for saying that.
Okay, but no, I don't think she'll kill you. I think it was a good answer. It was a very balanced, holistic answer,
It was a Srishti.
Wellness.
Yeah.
It was too good.
But do you guys all do this skincare routine, boys included?
I have started doing it for the last 2 years because I realized the tan on my face.
Yeah.
So
Also, you're out so much in the sun and
exactly.
things.
I
yeah.
think after a point the sunscreen stopped working on me. It just becomes your natural shade. But I think it's very important. One thing I realized, my dermat told me that I used to use 2 pea size amount of sunscreen on my face. Then she's like, you have to use 2 fingers. Like, that's something new I've learned. Then she also told me you have to also use a sunscreen during winters. I was like, wow,
Yeah,
that's
of
something
course.
new.
You have to use it every
Every
even
day.
indoors.
She
Yeah.
That's what
carried 3,
told
she'll
me.
give you 1.
Yeah.
That's what she told me. You have to use your sunscreens even indoors. I was like, ये पहले क्यों नहीं बताया? Like there's also like how do you apply a sunscreen? What sunscreen to use based on your body type? I feel that's very important. So I'd go for that sunscreen.
Okay, what about you?
I think thanks to my ex, she educated me a lot.
Huh.
So when we were together, like during trips and stuff, she used to do my skincare and she used to teach me.
Pookie Siddhesh.
I'm still like that, come on. So she used to explain me how to apply what there are 3 steps. Is moisturizer, there is this and that. I'm like, okay, let me just take it
And now you're
forward.
What are the
continuing
3
it forward?
steps? What are the 3 steps?
So first
Device?
is cleaning your face.
Yeah.
Cleanser.
Cleansing, correct.
Second is moisturizer.
Correct.
Then she asked me to apply some rose water.
Oh, okay.
So rose
Okay.
water, that is the third step. And fourth, if needed, I have a Ayurvedic cream that she has given me that I apply.
You still have it?
No sunscreen.
I don't have it. Sunscreen
why?
before sleeping.
अरे रात को
because
कौन सा
of
सूरज
sun.
आता है?
Before
You have to put it in the
sleeping.
daytime.
No, before sleeping.
No,
I
but
don't apply.
Oh, this is your before sleeping
Night
routine.
routine.
But in the day you apply sunscreen, huh?
Of course.
Yeah,
okay,
good.
of course. Everybody's like, yeah, of course. I don't need to talk about it.
SPF
Come
is a
on.
must.
Come on.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's very cute that you're carrying on this tradition
Yeah.
after.
But that has changed because my girlfriend has also changed.
The sunscreen brand must have changed.
I do use Aqualogica.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about friendships in this industry. How much of your time goes in, say, working versus you're balancing your life before being part of content creation, and then do you have friends as content creators?
So I think with friendships, I've created like this clear boundary. My friends, I mean, it's just actually I haven't created this boundary. This boundary has been created itself by itself for me. My friends from school and college are my best friends ever, and then the friends that I've made as content creators, they are my friends. I've honestly touched wood, found some really good friendships in this space, but I already have like my best friends from school. So I think not just in content creation, in life now, whoever I meet will be a dear friend, yes, but my closest core is
Yeah.
already done now. And I think hopefully it'll be done for life. So there's always like going to be just a little bit of like a boundary between anyone new I meet and most people I meet through content creation. So I'll have a lot of good friendships, yes, a lot of good, I enjoy talking to a lot of content creators, but I don't see myself getting too close to any of them. It just won't happen.
What about you? Have you met
I'd
interesting
agree to
people?
what Taneesha said. Like I've been very close to my school friends. Like I started the cleanup drives with them. Like over the years, I've made friends, but I think the bond you share with your school friends, there's nothing that can beat that.
Yeah.
And I think the age I am at currently, you cannot make new friends. Like you can make friends, but you cannot have the same bond that you have with your childhood friends. Like we've been friends for 20 years now.
Yeah, so there's so much context.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think I have friends in the content creation world, but if you ask about the bond, it's always my school buddies.
Okay. What about you?
Same. I don't know why we
Okay,
all...
so everybody's answer is, are you also in agreement with this answer?
And I think she has a lot of friends.
No, I've been on the content, I've been backstabbed by so many like so-called creative friends. So I am just scared of any friendships right now. So I, like she said, I maintain a very clear boundary. And I just hope that it doesn't get me cancelled again. So that's all.
It's fine, it's a cycle. You get cancelled, you get uncancelled.
Yeah, I think
So
we have
it
more
works out.
acquaintances than friends.
Yeah.
And I think all you need is 3-4 people who care about you. And if you find that in school and college, that's completely fine.
Okay. Let me ask you another question. If you had to swap careers with somebody in this room, who would it be? Start with you.
I think it would be Siddhesh. This is more relatable. I don't think I can talk about skincare and how to get a better boyfriend. Of course. So I think Siddhesh.
Okay. You?
I think, I don't know. You?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll swap with you.
Yeah. I would love to stay in Varli, so
That's the only reason.
That's the motivation.
Yeah.
that's the motivation.
Such a strong reason.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think I would also swap with you if I get to talk to Urvashi Rautela.
Yeah, the podcast is out, guys. Go
Oh
watch
my
it.
god, yes.
What about you?
I think I would probably swap with Malhar. I love what he's doing. We actually met a couple of years ago at one of his cleanups only. And I enjoy volunteering on Sundays and stuff. And if I can make a business out of it, why not? I really love and appreciate what he does. So.
That's the problem, making a business out of it.
But you've done amazing with it. So
Thank you.
I aspire to, be like that.
Okay. Let me ask you another question on that front, right? So, a lot of people think that it's a very lonely generation, that you're very connected on social media and you have this following, you have, what appears to be a very glamorous life where, I'm working with cool brands, I'm hanging out with cool people, but there is a sense of loneliness and that old school love, which, you grow up hearing about, or some of the films that you watch, doesn't exist anymore. What are your thoughts on modern relationships and love? We'll start with you. I'm dying to start with you.
Love. I'm obsessed with love. I have my broadcast channel. It's called Pookie Mandi, and I've been doing this challenge for a really long time. It's called Finding Your Soulmate. So
Okay.
today is
Sorry,
finding.
unrelated. I'm obsessed with it. I
know.
pay attention and so many people have found. I'm sorry, I'm spoiling it. You
No,
say it,
no,
you
but
say
for
it.
real. So it's going to be day 89 today, and so many people have found soulmates. So you won't believe there's a boy from Nasik, and he connected with some girl in Hyderabad, and they sent me a screenshot कि उनका first chat start हुआ. They said, hey, you look cute, whatever. And
How
they
does
started-
this work? Tell me the mechanism. I'm very unaware.
So you basically, I type in the question, finding your soulmate, and let's say every day I drop one question like, describe your 16th birthday in 5 words, or what's the fondest childhood memory. I ask very interpersonal questions so that people just don't talk about their age and city, what you do on Hinge and all. They actually talk about their real experiences and stuff. And people, जिसको भी एक दूसरे का answer पसंद आता है, they drop into each other's DMs
How
and
do
they
you see
start.
that?
So there is a reply section where you can read all, like I read all the replies, anyone can read all the replies, and whoever you find cute or whatever, you reply to them or you DM them. So this guy, this one guy sent me his screenshot with this girl, and he's like, oh, she's cute, like I've started talking to her. I was like, okay, nice, all the best. And then I think it's been 3 months since then, and this guy flew on his birthday from Nasik to Hyderabad just to celebrate it with her. And they're like, it's been 2 months since you started dating, and this wouldn't have been possible without you. So I feel like in the next 20 years or so, I'm pretty sure kids are going to say, oh, my parents met on Pookie Mandi. Srishti made my parents meet. So I feel like that's going to be the highlight of my life.
That's amazing.
But I love love, honestly.
Yeah, you do. And have you found it easy or difficult to be in relationships?
So I am in a relationship after a really long time, and I touch wood. I feel like this is the happiest I've ever been.
Soft launch.
Yeah, soft launch and hard launch on Shadi day. But I just feel like love has been so complicated in our generation because of the whole hookup culture. Like I remember I was being bullied in college for not like hooking up and for not being on Hinge, and I was like, is that even a thing to be, you know, like bullied on? So I feel like there's just so much pressure to explore, to find your options, but sometimes what you have right now in your life is probably the best option, and in the search of something new you might miss out on what you already have. So I just feel like, you know, you really have to believe in the प्यार and एक तरफा प्यार की ताकत and just like go back to Shah Rukh Khan roots.
Okay. What about you? Do you find it difficult to date? Do you think that it's a very different generation and a different time?
I do agree when you said that this is the loneliest generation, and it's been scientifically proven. So I am no one to validate that. But I continuously get humbled by a lot of old couples that I meet during my content. When I visit old age homes, when I visit random uncle auntie who sells something on local stations, and I interact with them, and then we uplift them somehow. I see their love growing. And I know that before they love each other, they have a lot of love for themselves.
Yeah.
The kind of work that they do, the kind of responsibility they have for themselves. So, you always go back to roots and ask your parents questions about love. About money, you shouldn't, because the formula has changed. But about love, go back to your family, ask your mom and dad, what does love mean? And if they're not able to answer it, and you can just see it by their actions, you know that's enough. It's not about just words. But now this generation is more about affirmation. It's very important for you to keep affirming, self-affirming, and reminding each other that, hey, I love you. Because at this point, attention span also reflects on relationships, right? If you mentally, there's a difference between cheating on someone and mentally cheating on someone. The moment you think of mentally cheating on someone, you already have cheated, right? Because there are multiple options for you to explore, right? So for me, by God's grace, I've been blessed with a beautiful woman, and she's amazing in every way. And
she helps you with your skincare routine.
We are in long distance,
so not really.
she's moving to Mumbai very soon. But we keep on writing letters to each other. We keep on doing things. So basically, I've created this blog for her in which I keep on writing articles to her to remind her that the kind of woman she is. She does not have to rely on me for her to feel better. And the best thing you can do is do not love someone the way you want to love, but the way they want to be loved. So ask them how they want to be loved, and that's enough for you to understand and go beyond these modern generation implications that people talk about.
It's the good perspective.
Yeah.
This side of the table. What do you think?
I'm going to add a few lines in Hindi before I start. सच छुपता नहीं छुपाने से सबका कटता है दिल लगाने से. I think that's been my love life. I've been with 3 women. All of those relationships have failed, unfortunately. I truly believe, we are a generation which is lonely, but we're also trying to show the world that we are happy.
Yeah.
I am completely against the whole culture of dating apps. I am somebody who can't do it. Personally speaking, I want the love to be a process. To take it slow, I take time to know somebody, understand them, and then get with the process. Unfortunately, that's not happening. I remember I was dating a girl before COVID. Her parents would call me a kachre wala because I was picking up trash from the beaches.
Oh my God.
So that's also the kind of narrative I'm trying to fight. And her parents were educated, like a director of a very good, public listed company. So I've understood one thing: it's not about education, it's not about literacy, it's all about the narrative that you need to change. So I also feel that, a lot of times girls don't want to be with somebody who's picking up trash. I could be wrong here, but that's the narrative which I have come across. Like, but if there are 2 people walking in a room, there's one actor and then there's me. Both of us look very similar personalities, everything almost same. I think the probability the girl would pick that guy is more.
But that's actor versus any other profession. That's not just your profession, right?
And that's
even
also him versus any other
any other profession, yeah.
Like for example, if it was a actor and a person in business, I still think most women would go towards the actor because you just see them in a certain way, right? They're on the big screen. They're
if not an actor, then probably an entrepreneur. Like, for example, if you've seen my videos, you see me getting into the marshy land where the water is still our chest, there's trash around us. Now, I need a woman who understands my work and is willing to support that, which is very difficult to find in the current time, I feel.
It's very interesting as a perspective. I
If
never
you have
thought
any
of it
female
like that.
friends who love cleanups, please get
Join
them
this
for a
group.
date at the
Join
cleanup.
Pookie Mandi.
Yeah.
Of course,
Yeah,
I'm
you
gonna send you my
actually
profile. Dates at the beach.
What about you?
I think so. Touchwood, I've been very lucky because a lot of examples in my
I feel like
life-
you should only touch wood. Like your whole
हाँ ना,
conversation.
साथ में बार-बार ये कर रहा हूँ।
Yeah.
yeah, everyone's like, I don't even know if I believe in it. I just do it.
Yeah.
Because of my mother. No, but I think I've in my personal life seen a lot of successful love stories. My nanny, nana, my mom, dad, and then my sister just got engaged to her boyfriend of 13 years. So I have
Wow.
like this idea.
We want to
of-
feature them on Humans of Bombay.
done. So I like have this idea of like love that is similar to Srishti. I just love love. I love it. I want that Shah Rukh Khan type of love. But it is true, and I think because I had that, I got a big reality check when I started dating, and I was like, oh wow, so it really isn't like that. But now I've been with someone for 3 years, and I feel like I have finally got that because, similar to you, like this is the happiest I've ever been, and we're also doing long distance. But it's been 3 years, and I really hope
I think
this
everybody
is the one.
must touch wood.
Am I the only
For
single
all
person?
But
it's actually
looking at
great
my
because you have
friends, I
time.
will say,
Yeah.
sorry,
We
looking
have
at
some
my,
alcohol for Malhar.
looking at my friends, I will say that it can be a little bit lonely because so many times my friends are like, oh, but there's like no one around, no one who
Yeah.
shares that like similar thing for like a genuine connection.
Yeah.
And I want to be like, no, you'll find someone, but it's true. It is a little bit lonely for sure. Yeah.
Okay. You'll get there.
आंसू टपक नहीं वाला.
Come on. We got to make this happen.
Yeah, you should join. And I feel like, you know, right now everyone is just so focused on, okay, while I get it, career is a very big part of where you come from, but I feel like people have just lost hope from love. And if you don't hope and if you don't believe in the magic of it, you won't find it. So you need to be a little bit simp again.
A little bit accepting.
You're
accepting
28,
to it.
no?
Yeah.
I can actually set you up with someone. I actually
love
know
that.
someone.
So we'll do a round 2 and then if
Done.
it's happening,
The next time-
we'll get the girl
I'm being
also.
so for real. I'm
Bro,
like, I'm not
trust
even
me, it
lying.
might happen. I was
No,
also
I'm not even
set up
lying.
by
I'm not
someone.
even lying. I'm not even lying. I'm not even lying. I'm not even lying.
Yeah.
I
We need
really can.
BTS of this later.
Okay, now we're going to do a fun segment. It's called Expose Yourself. So I'm going to read out a sentence with blanks, okay? And you have to
Stress.
fill that blank, but really quickly. Can't think.
That's a very tricky
Yeah, I'm
game.
getting stressed now.
We'll start with Srishti. She said
Ah,
it too.
please.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. If people knew how much money I actually spend on dash, they'd judge me.
Zomato.
Same Zomato.
Zomato.
Yeah.
You can't copy answers, yeah.
Okay, on shorts.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say sunflowers. Yeah.
वो भेज देता ना.
Okay,
It was alcohol.
okay.
Uber and Ola.
A secret about my DMs is? Like something about your DMs.
Something about my DMs. I don't know. Can someone else answer this first? I don't know how to
Okay, you
answer.
tell. So a secret about your DMs.
They are not just lovey-dovey. There is some hate also.
Okay. What
I
about-
read everything.
Oh, you read everything?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I usually don't check my DMs.
I stalk everyone who DMs me.
One thing about my content that even I cringe at is?
One thing about the conversation I can. Sorry, can someone else answer this? Because I really don't know how to answer.
I think when I used to simp on this crush of mine and I used to make very like desperate lonely content, yeah, that came from a cringe place.
Okay.
Low engagement.
I think inconsistency.
Okay.
Sometimes the way I talk.
Okay. If I wasn't a creator, I'd probably be?
A preschool teacher. I love
sweet.
kids.
Okay.
So.
Probably a politician.
Okay.
Social work.
Okay.
Interior decorator.
Not a writer?
I'm already a writer now.
You're already
Yeah.
a writer. Okay. Okay, so now we have another section, which is what's your reaction? If I say a word, a trend, or a line, you have to tell me what you think about it.
Okay.
Okay. Soft launching relationships.
Every day.
Yeah.
Trying to
Trying to soft
do it.
launch.
Yeah, trying.
Waiting for someone to like soft launch.
Very happy to do it.
One trend that you feel should just end.
Skinny jeans.
Really? Okay.
I'd agree to it. Skinny jeans.
Chat GPT prompts.
Okay.
The Studio Ghibli trend. Please, it's not fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Grooms crying seeing their girls in a lehenga.
I want it someday. You should do it.
Okay. You have to say from the groom's perspective.
Grooms?
Like, you know, when you have those videos where a groom is just crying when he sees his
Yeah.
to-be wife.
Oh, I also cry with
Oh,
it.
you also cry.
I think it's
I don't know why
overrated.
all these relationship questions.
We should ask him
And
a
I'm the
single
only
boy
one who has
question.
different answers.
Good. You're standing up. If it's not happening, cancel the wedding.
Yeah. Okay.
Have to
You see,
cry.
the expectation that the girls have nowadays
And it's bare
has gone from
minimum.
year to year.
But
Like
it's
they
gone,
want the
no, it's
groom
gone
to
from
cry.
here to here.
Yeah, it's the bare
The
minimum
bar
we
is in
want.
hell.
Like the groom to cry on the wedding. Like I've just seen that
Yes,
happening
yeah.
recently. Like
but so many of them men are finally being able to express themselves.
Yeah.
I think it's a beautiful
no, I
thing.
think if they're crying out of the genuine feeling, it's fine.
Yeah,
But it's,
trust me,
it's
I've
just
seen
because
it
for the
happening
shots.
out of the. It was choreographed.
How can
It
you
was
choreograph
completely-
crying?
You've seen a
But
wedding
I
where it was
don't believe
choreographed.
that.
Yeah.
How
Okay,
can
tell
you
me how.
choreograph crying?
So basically, there is a moment where he enters with there is a main ramp and वहाँ से दुल्हन जा रही है, वहाँ पे दूल्हा बीच में खड़ा है, सिमेट्री में, ना इधर ना उधर, सिमेट्री में. He's standing there and he's coming there and he's lip syncing the song and he's moving, he's doing this, looking here, looking there, looking here. I'm like, bro, what is happening? She comes, he tells her, नीचे बैठ. नहीं, पहले मैं नीचे बैठूंगा, फिर नीचे बैठा और फिर खड़ा हो गया, फिर तू भी नीचे बैठ, फिर वो नीचे बैठने की, नहीं तू मत बैठ. So it was all choreographed. So
But the crying wasn't, na.
crying was too. So you can see when someone is putting their finger inside their eyes.
Oh, okay. That's crazy.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. That's odd.
Yeah, that's weird. If it's fake, then obviously.
If you could introduce one Gen Z slang or term, what would it be?
If you could.
Like, tell us about one Gen Z slang or term.
Okay, I'm bad at this.
Why don't you say? I think I should have started with you. Pookie.
Ha, like she's the.
I think, so I love Kung Fu Panda, and there's this thing that Po does, he does skadoosh in the end. And I feel like that's such a cute word. So every time I'm excited about something or every time I have like a new idea, I'm like skadoosh. So I generally use that a lot and I feel like it should be more common.
Okay.
I think core is the one that I relate with.
Core.
Core.
Okay.
Core is basically like, what is core?
Are they like,
Like
girlfriend core or like
Oh, yeah.
someone's
Someone who's
trait,
like
yeah.
an MVP at it. Someone is very good at it.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
this is the traditional benchmark.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know how to describe it in words, but vibe hai.
Yeah.
You are like I am
Just,
like.
yeah, people can figure out core.
Like she's
Yeah,
a
like the traits.
pookie core.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to have a suggestion for you should make a dictionary with all the slangs
Yeah.
and everything. So
Yeah.
it makes easier for everyone to understand.
Done.
What about you?
I'm not very good at it, but I think the one slang which I like is pookie. I see those videos, you know, where there's some pookie and you pink ribbon here on the forehead, I think.
You've seen it on my page only.
That's very cute, I feel.
Okay, what about
I
you?
was gonna say Pookie, but then I think I'll go with. Why am I so bad at this? Let's go with. I'm literally blanking. I like saying slay a lot. I cringe at it myself
Oh my
sometimes, but
God.
I say it so much. It's
There-
bad.
so
there are
slay.
Gen Z
Love
girls-
it.
slay.
There are Gen Z girls in my office who say slay.
Yeah, and it's also like a good way to hype someone up.
Yeah.
So I think it's cute.
How much of your workforce is Gen Z?
50%.
Oh wow.
Not bad.
The average is
So we
60.
learn. We learn
Yeah.
every day.
Average
Something,
is 60. Yeah.
something is taught to me every day by these girls. So
Yeah.
just come and tell me this is what's happening on Reddit, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah. I think like Srishti would be a perfect marketing manager at a company.
yeah, na?
I would hire her
Yeah.
for sure.
That was
I'm
my
like-
alternate plan.
Yeah, 100%.
I
Like you-
worked at a marketing agency earlier and I was like, you know what, if I was a creator, I would do it
In
10
this
times
way,
better.
yeah.
And then I just did it.
Slay.
Okay, so we're the last question, and it's a thinker. Okay, so if in 2050 somebody was looking back at your social media accounts today, what do you think they would say about it? I'm starting with you.
I think they'd say that, I don't know, I feel like in 2050 life might be so different that I feel like they look back and they'll try to study it. They'll be like, what's going on? What is she saying? What is happening? This is all
Like
seeming
people,
so...
like real people used to post content, not
Yeah,
AI.
literally, yeah. I think they would like study that. I think they'd point out what's wrong with this, why AI is better
Okay.
and stuff like that. But yeah, probably.
Okay.
I think in 2050 it's still going to be relevant because the pace at which the climate change is happening, plastic pollution is happening, you'll still find pollution at the beaches then.
Actually,
There
I
won't
think
be
yours
only
will be
a
the
word.
most relevant because people will be like, oh my god, this guy was a thought leader
Yeah.
and used to talk about this like years in advance. And now we're in a way worse situation than we were in 2025. So
Probably.
I think you'll be probably the most relevant.
If
in
we're
my
all
opinion.
still alive.
Yeah. What about you?
Like perception of what it was.
What is your social media handle?
Right now.
Yeah, if somebody was to look at it from 2050 right now.
They would look at a guy who's trying to bring change, and someone who has built schools that are one of the finest ecosystems in 2050. Because I want to build schools, so that's an end game.
Okay, amazing. What about you?
I can just imagine kids saying, "Oh, my parents met through her." I'll be happiest.
Junior mini Simanti.
Yes, I'm Gen Z Seemanti.
Okay, amazing. Guys, I've had such a fun time. And
Same.
I must say, Gen Zs are very misunderstood. You guys brought a lot of context, you guys brought a lot of clarity of thought. So I really enjoyed my conversation and thank you for coming and doing this. It was really great. And I hope you guys watch this podcast.
I will
This
now.
one will be watched now.
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you
you
so much.
guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
for
much.
having us.
Thank you for being the best community and we'll see you in the next one.